Hi, and welcome back to Tuesdays with Tuesday. I'm Tuesday, and I write fantasy fiction under the name Mary E. Twomey. Every Tuesday, I read you a new chapter of one of my books. We are midway through Taste, and that is under my fantasy name, Mary E. Twomey. You can check it out on my website if you like, or you can just come back Tuesday after Tuesday and let me read to you. Today we're in chapter 26, Danny's Tutorial. After Caballo washed my car and Danny replaced the tire, I learned Mason had slashed to keep me there. I tiptoed around the 2-inch thick pile of various insects that had croaked on the porch. It wasn't well lit out, so it was hard to find a spot to step on that was not a flipped-up mixture of slick and crunchy. I didn't want to admit that the hordes of lifeless exoskeletons creeped me out. "I'll drive with her," Danny ruled. "Vaughn can follow us in my car, so I have a way to get home in the morning." "I'm fine," I said, hopefully not too antagonistically. "Duke out shotgun with your brother." "I don't need a chaperone to drive my own car to my own house." "Then think of me as the one person who will answer any question you have." Danny opened the passenger door to my car for me. I consented to getting into the passenger seat of my own car because I didn't want to have to touch the door handle on the other side. Caballo had done the bare minimum job of washing Terrence the Taurus, and I didn't trust the cleanliness. Danny slid into the driver's seat, cleaning his hands with a wet wipe from the glove box I had ready for him. He adjusted the seat, the mirrors, and the steering wheel height before he started up the car. I cringed at how much detailing would need to be done now. The bug germs were everywhere, on my steering wheel, on my heater controls, the seat belt, the inside of my door. My skin crawled with phantom insects. I was surprised I hadn't had a full-on panic attack yet, so, yay me. I guess this pulling thing they did wasn't all talk. If it could help me be more normal, that might not be such a bad thing. Danny drove onto the freeway with Vaughn and Mason in the car behind us on the empty road. When I didn't speak first, he finally decided to break the silence that had been weighed with too many things that needed saying. "I wasn't trying to kiss you, really. I was trying to get the soul out of you before it atrophied. I know what that looks like, and it's not pretty." I introduced forced vulnerability into my voice. But I thought you loved me." Danny's eyes grew wide before he glanced over at me and saw me smirking. "Hilarious." "I'm going to take that as a compliment. Under normal circumstances, I am pretty funny." "Well, it wasn't a compliment, it was sarcasm. Pretty annoying, not pretty funny. Distinction." "You think I'm pretty too?" "Well, you're just the sweetest little cupcake." He loosened his collar and I knew I'd succeeded in making him uncomfortable. "Maybe driving you was a bad idea." "Admitting you're a dummy is the first step to recovery." Yes, that was a little harsh, but I still hadn't totally made my peace with him smacking me across the face, so attitude flare-ups were inevitable. "Did your mouth come with an off switch?" "You must have turned it off when you kissed me. Does that happen often? You turning women off with a single kiss?" I was waiting for the steam to come roiling out of Danny's ears. Maybe this should be more of a silent road trip. "Works for me." I looked out the window, taking in the few trees we passed as Danny drove 9 miles over the speed limit. "I don't know what I'm supposed to tell Ollie when we get back to my house. He's staying with me for a few days. How do I explain the company?" Danny shrugged, making it clear he couldn't care less about my personal life. "Vaughn and Mason are your reapers, so they'll be with you around the clock from here on out. You three will have to come up with a story that works for all of you." He scratched a spot on his elbow and shifted in the seat. "This car's nice. Is it new?" "It's almost a year old. Looks fresh off the lot. Barely a speck of dust in it. I detail it once a month." Danny shot me an appreciative look. "Nice." I absent-mindedly scratched at the skin on the backs of my hands, letting it all sink in. My car smelled faintly of the familiar lavender I wore, and I drew the scent into my lungs in an attempt to calm myself. "All right, you and Mason can sleep on the pull-out couch tonight. Vaughn can bunk up with Ollie if he can talk Ollie into sharing. Otherwise, he can take a sleeping bag on the floor in the living room." "That won't work." "Then Vaughn and Mason can sleep on the floor. I've got plenty of sleeping bags." I frowned at Danny. You can't complain about what I've got to offer you when you just spring this whole nonsense on me." be grateful I'm going along with this at all. I mean that at least one of us will stay in your room. It won't do to reinforce protection around your house only to have someone snatch you in the middle of the night out from under our noses. What? Jeez, what kind of world do you live in? The kind where tearaway royals can show up at any moment and take you to their world if they think you're stepping a toe out of line. I don't like this. My nails raked over the backs of my hands as anxiety started to grate on my nerves. I'd needed to wash my hands for so long. I fought with my creeping anxiety so my breathing didn't grow too shallow. Stop doing that, Danny scolded me, glancing toward my hands. Vaughn or Mason can help you with that when we get to your house. Plus, if you draw up blood, it'll just make things harder on Vaughn. And he's more the take what's not his type of idiot. I don't need help. I need to move. I mean, you all clearly can't keep Mary Ang safe. I don't think bringing more of you into my life is going to help that much. Though I barely knew the guy, I could tell this cut him deep. Mary Ang's been abducted twice. One time I wasn't there for, the other I was outnumbered 10-1. The time I wasn't there, I was in the shower. 2 rooms away from her for 10 minutes, and they snatched her right up from under my nose. So as much as you may not want Vaughn or Mason in your space, trust me that it's necessary. He reached over to touch my hands, retracting at my flinch. Sorry, just stop scratching yourself like that. It's weird. You don't get to comment on my level of weird. I don't want you touching me. I think I've earned the right to say that. I switched to squeezing my fingers one by one so he didn't feel the need to touch me again. My chin lowered and I switched to a less antagonistic tone. I don't want to quit my day job. Danny chewed on my complaint, taking in the flavor of my mood and digesting it before answering. You have a new job now. You can't go back to your old one. There's just not enough hours in the day for you to do both. It's tiring work. Being an omen takes a lot out of you, so you'll need time to rest and recharge from it. I tugged on my fingertips, my voice quiet. You don't know how much I love my job, or how hard I work at it. What you're asking me to do, it's mean. I've been called worse, and it should show you how bad the situation is in Tearaway if we're asking you to give up something that this important to you for this. I scoffed lightly. You don't care about me or what's important to me. None of you do. I'm a means to an end. I looked out the window and sighed forlornly. But thanks for pretending it's something nicer than that. You don't have to pretend for me. You slapped me across the face, choked me out, and tied me up. I think we're past pretending. I examined my fingernails. Nice job on the whole choking me out thing. I can't believe I actually lost that one. Truth? You almost won. I had to use pulling to get you to calm down. I won't do that again, though. I'm not your Reaper. They're the ones in charge of when to use pulling and how much from now on. He shot me a wary look. So, we're cool? I raised an eyebrow at him. Maybe still a day away from cool. I'm entertaining a few homicidal thoughts concerning your demise, though, so that's a bonus. Danny's frown tightened. All right, good. Since we don't have to talk about your feelings or whatever, we can move on to the logistics. He gripped the steering wheel like he wished he could strangle it. Whatever annoyance you, Mason, and Vaughn are thinking of being to each other, I'd cut it out now. You're stuck together, so make the best of it. I can work on that. Mason's great. You'll be safe with him. Vaughn's an okay guard, I guess. Not a great guy, but whatever. He used to be the best big brother in the world. Fun on a normal day, terrifyingly vicious when anyone crossed our family. Now he's utterly useless. He glared at the road ahead as if it had insulted his mama. I can feel when Mary Ang's upset or happy or tired. It took a while to build up that connection, but it's dead useful. It's nature's way of helping me do my job better. When she was taken while I was in the shower, I felt the tug in my chest and acted as quickly as I could. I failed, but point is that I felt it. Vaughn and Mason will start to feel you after a while, too. I closed my eyes, gulping down my fear at having someone know my inner workings that well. They both already made mention of being able to sense my anxiety, and I'd felt their dips on occasion as well. I kept my voice quiet when I finally opened my mouth. I don't want that. Danny was silent for a few beats, respecting the blast of the worst thing he could have said to me. I didn't want anyone knowing how hard simple things were for me. I didn't want anyone knowing me. Even Gabby just thought I was mildly quirky. My best friend knew little of my childhood or the medication I was on to cope with some of my crippling OCD. Did you want me to pull over so you can talk to Vaughn and Mason? They can help you so you don't freak out. I shot Danny a look that told him how ludicrous that idea was. No thanks. They can't help. They're total strangers to me. That's where you're wrong. Danny's shoulders relaxed a little as he emerged onto the highway I instructed him to take. They're your reapers, so they'll be great at taking away small amounts of fear, anxiety, anger, stuff like that. Then you won't have to deal with so much. They don't just take harvested souls and check out. They get you back to zero every night so you can start fresh in the morning. No thanks. I can handle myself just fine. Am I freaking out? No. Yes. Just stay away from my personal life. The new idea that my anxiety would be palpable to someone else was foreign to me. I wasn't sure what to do with that other than the gleaming option of total denial. Danny lectured me like an older sibling I didn't ask for. Being an omen takes its toll. You'll need your reapers. He pointed to the fingers I was still tugging on. You need them now already. I tucked my hands under my thighs and they burned with the desire to be scratched and washed. No offense to your awesome system, but I don't need strange men to help me deal. See? I'm fine. I cast up a breezy smile, as breezy as I could at him. Easy peasy. Danny shook his head, frustrated with my level of resistance on letting all things unicorn, leprechaun, and omen invade my personal space. It's intense, the bond between an omen and her reaper. Be careful you don't fall too hard. I mean, there's two of them. I don't know how that'll work. What are you talking about? How what will work? I didn't give Mary Ann the time of day before I became her reaper. And I said I love you inside the first month after she was awakened. I'm telling you, it's intense. Boot camp for relationships. You're together all the time, and there's something about the whole taking away your tension that's more bonding than anything else. I'm just saying, be careful. Vaughn's not good for you, or anyone really. Not to worry. I don't plan on hooking up with a vampire or a Viking who's almost a decade older than me. I looked out the window, trying to picture myself next to Mason. Before we left, I went up to tell Mary Ann I was leaving for the night. I felt her getting anxious that I would be gone. Her second abduction was just a few months ago, so she's still a little shaken up. Understandable. So I held her and took a little of her fear so she could get some sleep tonight. You, Mason, and Vaughn will have to learn how to do that. I gaped at Danny. I don't need them to sing me to sleep or whatever. Honestly, that's so embarrassing. I mean, good for the two of you and all, but I don't need that. And what do you do with all that negative emotion? Just suck it up? Because if that's all you do, I can manage that without any help. I'm like the queen of sucking it up. Danny sighed, and I could tell he was trying to find the right words to explain second-nature things to me. Reapers are born with the ability to take in an omen's troubles and get rid of them. Sure, I get upset when I see the toll it all takes on Mary Ann, but this is different. I can take her upset and make it disappear without any bad effect on me. That's so weird. You're like the ultimate shrink. Danny offered me half a smile. It looked foreign on his surly face and disappeared quickly when it realized it didn't belong there. I suppose that's a good way to put it. The only thing it does to me is make me dreadfully hungry. Do you get specifics? Like, can you read her mind? Or is it just a jumbled mess of bad emotions you get rid of? Danny scratched his chin as he considered this. Hard to say. I mean, I know her like the back of my hand because we've been together for years. So a lot of what she's dealing with, I know the specifics of because I'm right next to her through it all. But other than that, no specifics unless I really look at the mess she hands me. And since it's such a mess, I don't really want to look that closely. But you could tell the specifics if you wanted to? Yes, maybe. But it's a lot like looking into the sun. Why bother with the pain, yeah? I just do my job and let it go. Years of training so I don't have to look at it all too closely. But Vaughn doesn't have years of training. Neither does Mason. They'll be fine. They'll learn. Vaughn went to the academy for a few years where they teach duende things of that sort. He was kicked out in his last year, so he's fairly well educated. And Mason actually graduated, though that was years ago. I decided right then and there that I would never need Vaughn or Mason for that service. Suck the flailing soul out of me and keep me from getting abducted? Sure. But that's where it ends. No other questions? You went all quiet on me. How old are you? Vaughn said he's the oldest brother, but you seem much older. I get that a lot. I'm 28. I'm 11 months younger than Vaughn, so it's quite the draw. Plus, I've had years of actually holding a job. We all thought he was Superman when we were young. He did everything to keep our family afloat after Dad left. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, well, after he was kicked out of the academy, something changed. Couldn't get a job, couldn't keep a job, so he turned to less respectable means. I could tell he was hinting at something, though I couldn't guess what. Then he was bitten by an aswang turned vampire, which only made things worse. Vampires don't have a long life expectancy, so Vaughn gave up trying to make something of himself and started debasing himself to revel in what little time he has left. Danny swallowed hard. Finally, Ezra took pity on him and brought him on as a guard. Vaughn's charming, but useless these days, though I guess not a terrible guard. I let out a low whistle. Wow, you must really hate your brother. I can't imagine talking about Ollie like that. What'd he do? You'll learn soon enough. Try counting on him. That's the quickest way to figure out what he's made of. And that brings us to the end of chapter 26. If you want to read ahead in the series, you can check out Taste by Mary E. Twomey. It is available for free as an ebook right now as of this taping. And if you want to read ahead, you can. Or if you want to just come back here next Tuesday, I will read you the next chapter. Until then, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday for Tuesdays with Tuesday.